Hello and welcome back to another Classic WoW video. So today we are going to look at Classic WoW items that will still be relevant in TBC. So these could either be items you should invest in for TBC, or just items you might want to hold on to instead of throwing away. Some of these items will be items you already have and already use, and some might be items you'll want to start farming for now. Since farming for it in TBC will be a lot more boring, since in TBC vanilla will be old content, right? Farming it might be faster in TBC, but let's be honest here. When TBC comes out, most of you probably want to do TBC content, right? By the way, how many times have I said TBC so far? So let's talk about the obvious one first. Ores, gems, bars, anything you obtain from mining. In the Burning Crusade we get a new profession called jewel crafting, which needs all of those things. It needs ores to prospect for gems, and it needs gems to cut into other shiny things. Your best bet here is to farm different low and medium level ores, and semi-rare gems and keep those for TBC. Because who wants to go back and farm mining in Stranglethorn Vale or Desolate when TBC comes out? Every single type of ore and gem will be in much higher demand when TBC comes out, which just makes sense. Also, some zones will be more, annoying to farm than others, and some ores are easier to obtain than others. For example, if you go to Stormwind, you can easily do a lap around Elven Forest for copper ore, but actually going down to Stranglethorn Vale requires a little bit more effort. But that being said, in TBC we'll have flying, so moving across different zones will be a lot faster. Another factor as to why especially ores and bars will go up in price is blacksmithing. In TBC, blacksmiths can craft, bound and pick up items that are extremely good, and several warriors and paladins might change their professions to become blacksmiths. That being said, many will probably do this in the downtime, in between Phase 6 and TBC, but there will also be new people joining in TBC that will be looking to skill up blacksmithing, so having ores and bars to sell will be very, very lucrative in TBC. And seriously, can someone count how many times I say TBC in this video? Brilliant Wizard Oil is still really useful in TBC, and therefore large brilliant shards and fire bloom will still be in high demand. And I expect large brilliant shards to be the item of biggest value here, since it's a bit worse to farm than fire bloom. Brilliant Wizard Oil is literally the best oil for casters in TBC, and therefore you can expect huge demand on this item. As a comparison, here's the TBC Wizard Oil. As you can see, it has slightly more spell power, but you're losing all of the crit rate, making it slightly worse, meaning that the classic version of the Wizard Oil is actually better for casters in TBC as well. Dreamfoil and Mountain Silver Sage are used in the elixir most people will use for raids before they start using flasks, so these might be a good investment late in Phase 6 or something, and I would expect these elixirs to sell at a pretty high rate as well. The downside is it only requires one Dream Foil or one Mountain Silver Sage depending on which elixir you want, but it requires one Classic Herb and one Outland Herb, to put it that way. Additionally, Volatile Healing Potion, which most people will craft to skill up Alchemy from 300 plus, also requires one Golden Sansam per craft, so those might see an increase at the launch of TBC. Supreme Power and Distilled Wisdom Flasks are sometimes used instead of TBC flasks, so Black Lotus and other herbs are still useful as well. Next up is leather. Leatherworking has potential to be huge in TBC, and I'm not sure how many people actually know about this. In TBC you have several different drums. Drums affect party members and can function either like an attack power or spell power buff, or a heroism type of drum, increasing your attack speed. These drums affect your party members, so if you have a group of 5 people, where everyone has leatherworking, you can actually have 150 seconds of heroism because you can use these drums back to back. And apparently the exhaustion debuff from them isn't introduced until Wrath. So if TBC comes out with #no changes, you can chain 2.5 minutes of drum buffs, then have an actual heroism after that as well, if you have a shaman in your group. Here's the thing as well, these drums have a 2-minute cooldown, and they last for 30 seconds, so you really only need 4 people per group to have leatherworking, and yes, you actually need to be a leatherworker to use them. This is one reason why leatherworking is going to be a huge profession for every raider or serious player out there, and many people will have leatherworking on their main. So any type of leather used to skill up leatherworking could be a huge moneymaker. Elemental sharpening stones. You know, the stones you use to enchant your melee weapons to increase your crit chance, are also used throughout all of TBC, so keeping this is also a good decision. You also have the elixir of demon slaying, which increases your attack power against demons, and you know we'll be fighting a ton of demons in the Burning Crusade. Now let's talk about some items that aren't tradable, but are still relevant in TBC, so you might want to try to obtain them now. First of all, there's the Skull of Impending Doom. This works especially in battlegrounds like Warzone Gulch, but I believe at some point it was patched so you drop the flag if you use it. But you can still use it, then pick up the flag. You just can't pop it when you have the flag, so you pop it before picking up the flag, then pick up the flag and run. You also have the Diamond Flask for warriors, which still gives 75 strength and heals you, but at level 70 that heal and strength bonus will be way weaker percentage wise than it was at level 60, but it's still a nice item to have. The Luffa is another trinket you'll want to keep, as it is one of a kind when it comes to its ability to remove a bleed effect. You also have Mark of the Champion, which is really useful when fighting against undead and demons, and you know we'll be fighting some of those guys in TBC. You also have the Mind Quickening Gem, which is reworked in TBC to increase your spell haste rating by 330 instead of giving a flat percentage boost. But this trinket can still be quite useful in many scenarios in TBC, especially in PvP to cast insanely quick sweeps on the enemy, and as you know, the faster the cast, the harder it is to interrupt. There are a ton of other trinkets like Life-Giving Gem, Magic Reflectors, Nifty Stopwatch, and so on, but basically any good trinkets in Classic are also good in TBC in some scenario. For a list of some good items, here's a screenshot from Reddit on this topic. Several enchants like Threat Enchant and the Crusader Enchant will also still be quite good in TBC, and mostly because they provide cheaper, but almost equally as good options. Like the Crusader is the cheap and slightly worse version of the Mongoose Enchant, so you might opt to go for the Crusader Enchant until you obtain your ultimate best in slot. So as you can see, a lot of classic WoW items, both raw materials, consumables, and actual gear is still used a lot in TBC as well, and I just wanted to make a list of the most important items in my opinion. Obviously all legendaries, especially Thunder Fury, and Atiesh will be best in slot until very late TBC, and possibly throughout the entirety of TBC as well. And I know people actually clear TBC ranks with tier 3 gear, so if you get full tier 3, you should be good to go for at least a while in TBC. Keep all the fun pieces of loot you obtain on your journey, any trinkets or items with special effects, and start hoarding up some ores, leather and herbs, and sell them in TBC. Hopefully this video helps you make some gold either before TBC comes out, or in TBC itself, and hopefully it helped you get a bit more knowledge on items that are still valuable in the Burning Crusade as well. Here's the thing, right? Raiding in TBC doesn't actually cost as much as it did in Classic, because you don't need as many consumables. That being said, parsing culture is still a thing, and will be so in TBC as well. So even if you don't have to use consumables, people will still do it. That being said, I really believe you can make a bunch of gold by hoarding leathers and ore for people planning to level up leatherworking, blacksmithing, or jewel crafting in TBC, or close to TBC launch. So here's your opportunity. Anyways, I'll talk more about that in a future video, where I cover TBC investments or TBC professions. This video was just meant to show you some items that will still be valuable in TBC. I do hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, please take the time to slap that like button for the YouTube algorithm. Plus it helps show me which type of videos you guys like, and which you don't like. And if you haven't subscribed already, feel free to do so, especially if gold making is something you're into, as that's the main focus of this channel. Also, feel free to check out my Discord channel, which you can find a link to in the description down below. Last but not least, click on any of the 2 videos popping up on the screen right now to watch more content from me. And with that being said, thank you so much for watching this video, and I will see you in the next one.